Hillary Clinton makes history at the Democratic National Convention. She's now the party's nominee for president. And tonight, her husband took center stage in support.
We got so many people leaving.
Richmond police say they're losing officers who are wanting better pay elsewhere. Tonight, some in the community ask city leaders to do something about it.
Some bad behavior on the basketball courts in a park, forcing city leaders in one eastern Kentucky town to close them.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening. More storms rolling across the bluegrass tonight, and if you ended up under one, you probably saw some heavy rain.
And it looks like those storm chances will continue into tomorrow. We begin tonight with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey and your no-wait weather forecast.
Yeah, at this point, why not, huh? We're going to continue to see those thunderstorms cranking up tomorrow, as you mentioned, but really kicking into high gear later this week. Late evening. Defender Radar Network still trying to fire up a scattered thunderstorm or two into parts of southern and southeastern Kentucky. Hazard into parts of the Hayden area, right on top of the Hal Rogers / Daniel Boone Parkway. We have had some thunder and lightning. Now, folks into Whitley City, McCreary County. A little thunderstorm that has developed on top of us, and that's going to work its way into parts of Whitley County, and that's the name of the game over the next few hours. Anyone can see a little thunderstorm just develop as this tropical moisture continues to lift to the north out of the Gulf of Mexico, and it's right on top of the Tennessee Valley. See all the clouds that are down here? Those clouds will be on top of us tomorrow. That's a little bit of an increase in moisture. Now, as we go through the remainder of the overnight on your future radar, hour by hour, notice how it still tries to crank out a spotty shower thunderstorm through the middle of tomorrow morning. Then once we get into the afternoon tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the possibility of some additional storms. So rounds of storms will continue. Some of those can be strong. Guys, when I come back at 11:13, we'll track the heavy rain threat.
Chris, thank you. An historic night for American politics as Hillary Clinton became the first woman to win the presidential nomination of a major political party. She secured it during the roll call of states at the Democratic National Convention.
Kentucky Congressman John Yarmouth and State Democratic Chair Sandy Overly announced Kentucky's votes after mentioning the state is home to Muhammad Ali, the Kentucky Derby, and Kentucky Bourbon.
In other words, in Kentucky, we know what a winner looks like.
Madam Secretary, Kentucky's 60 delegates proudly cast 27 votes for Senator Bernie Sanders and 33 votes for the next president of the United States of America, Secretary Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Hillary Clinton's husband, former President Bill Clinton, then headlined night 2 of the convention. Don Champion has our top story at 11.
Bill Clinton took the stage in Philadelphia to do something no other former president has done, celebrate his wife Hillary as the first female presidential nominee of a major party.
Oh, she's insatiably curious, she's a natural leader, she's a good organizer, and she's the best darn change maker I ever met in my entire life.
The former president is in the unique position of knowing both the job and the nominee better than anyone.
If you were sitting where I'm sitting, and you heard what I have heard at every dinner conversation, every lunch conversation, on every long walk, you would say, this woman has never been satisfied with the status quo in anything. She always wants to move the ball forward.
History was made earlier in the evening when South Dakota put Clinton over the top during roll call. In a symbolic show of unity, her former rival Bernie Sanders ended the vote.
And I move that Hillary Clinton be selected as the nominee of the Democratic Party for President of the United States.
Now November. I want this feeling in November.
While there was plenty of emotion here in the arena, not everyone was feeling the unity.
Walk out! Walk out!
Scores of disgruntled Sanders supporters walked off the floor.
I feel cheated. I feel wrong.
If you are going to walk out of this party, you better tell it to Bernie Sanders who told you to stay.
It's ultimately up to Clinton to unite the party and rally voters to get behind her. She will formally accept the Democratic nomination for president on Thursday. Don Champion, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Now, one of the first speakers of the day was Kentucky Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes, a close friend of the Clinton family. Grimes stressed Hillary Clinton's support for equal rights for all Americans.
More than anything else, she loves to listen. The Hillary I know fights for all people through causes we have both championed, including equal pay.
Grimes also offered some insights into Clinton's personal side, calling her a family-oriented grandmother.
Fighting for a better salary. Tonight, a group of wives of Richmond police officers protested outside a city commission meeting, saying their husbands deserve more pay. The pay scale for Richmond police has been an issue in the city for years. New at 11, Monique Blair talks to the city's mayor and some of the people protesting.
Acting Richmond Police Chief Robert Mott says so far this year, 15 police officers have left the force, most of them leaving to go to other law enforcement departments. Right now, the police force has 46 full-time officers, but only 31 of them patrol the streets, leaving the department to what some are calling an emergency shortage because so many veteran officers are leaving for better pay.
That number is ridiculous when you think about it. 4 or 5 officers working at a time for this entire city.
Before Tuesday's city commission meeting, several people picketed outside the city building demanding the commission approve more money for the police department. Right now, the Richmond Police Department's entry-level salary is competitive with other cities, but it's once officers have been in the force for a few years that their pay takes a significant dip when compared to those same cities. Chief Mott proposed a new pay scale earlier this year that would ensure higher pay raises more often, and it would reward longevity in an effort to retain the experienced officers. Mayor Jim Barnes says he still wants to do some more research to make sure it's the financially responsible decision to make.
It's got to be feasible. And at this point, there's been no options. It's this or nothing. And we don't know the financial consequences.
Those in favor of the new pay scale say it is feasible because the city budget has several $1 million in surplus. But Mayor Barnes says it's not that simple.
People don't understand business, it compounds. So if it's $1 million this year, it's $1.3 million next year, $1.4 million. If it grows, it doesn't. If it stays stagnant, it wouldn't be a problem.
The police department has been pushing for a new pay scale for several years. Chief Mott says it's crucial to the safety of the city to keep the veteran officers.
Our department is very, very young, and obviously young officers make mistakes, and that's not what we want. We want, a group of senior guys to stay in there to, help guide the way, and we don't have that because we got so many people leaving.
In Richmond, Monique Blair, WKYT.
A Richmond City Commission workshop will be held next month. Mayor Barnes says he intends on focusing that meeting on police officer salaries. The public can attend, but there will not be an opportunity for public comment.
Tonight, police have charged a woman with murder after they say her car hit 2 people, killing one of them. The crash happened last night on Highway 895 in Whitley County. Police say Sonia Askin's car hit Joshua and Teresa Bennett as they were on a walk. The crash killed Teresa. Joshua says Askin stopped and asked if the couple was okay, but he says she quickly drove off after he told her his wife was dying. Police say they arrested Askins when she came back to the scene. They say she admitted drinking moonshine and taking prescription pills before the crash.
And just because somebody chooses to get out and get high and drink, the best thing in my life got took from me.
Police say Askins told them she left the scene because she was in shock, but her boyfriend convinced her to go back.
Stanton city leaders say some problems at the basketball courts in a city park got out of hand, so the city decided to close them. City leaders say they'll stay closed until they see some dramatic improvements. But what do people who use the park think? Garrett Weimer has the story.
Even on a sunny day, these courts are quiet.
I noticed the other day there was nobody here. I thought it was weird, and now I just noticed the sign.
Closed until further notice. Some weren't surprised to see it. They say the courts have a bit of a reputation.
And it just gets worse and worse, and nobody's done anything about it until now.
Stanton's mayor says he shut down the courts after ongoing problems with bad language, then, quote, an incident earlier this month. A city council member and Parks and Rec chair says after that, he found used syringes on the court.
It's really bad that the good people have to suffer when we lock these gates, but they do. But we can't turn a blind eye to what I've seen.
Chad Birch, who runs a summer basketball league, says they've had to rent a gym at a local church for their already scheduled games.
Basketball is a very popular sport in this county, and this really hurts. This really hurts.
Birch says he's been trying to get ideas from the community about how to make the basketball courts here safer and make it a better environment.
The biggest one we usually hear is some sort of full-time police presence, especially during their most active hours.
Folks at the park say they just want people to clean up their act. In Stanton, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Birch plans to bring those suggestions up at the Parks and Recreation Board's next meeting. That's on Tuesday night in Stanton.
Lexington city leaders calling it a big deal. The city has received a federal grant worth millions of dollars. What the money will be used for in 9 minutes.
And then it now appears there were warnings in the days before a deadly building collapse in Louisville.
Your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Putting the wraps on a Tuesday that featured more steam and some storms across the entire area. What else is new there? Well, the steam going to really give way to more of the storms in the coming days. Look outside right now to show you what we are dealing with. 70s galore. Boy, the ACs are just running overtime over the past week and change because of all the humid air at night. Those temperatures stay right at 70 degrees or better. 77, Covington, Frankfort, Lexington, Danville, and into Somerset and Middlesboro as well. We had some rain out there today. Still have a fairly wet ground across the region, and that may lead to some fog tonight. We had the fog that was very thick this morning, so if you're up and at 'em tomorrow, crack of dawn, fog may be reducing visibility to under a mile at times, and it may take a little bit to burn away, especially if we can fire up a little shower action during that time as well. Defender Radar Network right now tracking one. That's it. One little thunder shower here across the Whitley City area, heading out of Whitley City, which is in McCreary County, into Whitley County and toward the Williamsburg area. That is rolling its way eastbound along 92. Good folks into Holly Hill. I've made that trip a time or two. And to far southern Kentucky, that is where that little shower is working out of McCreary into Whitley counties. Notice the showers and storms a little more prominent into parts of the Volunteer State. That moisture is lifting its way onto the north, and that's a sign of things to come as we go into the day tomorrow. So tomorrow, kind of like today, which was kind of like yesterday, except we're going to see a little better coverage of those showers and storms into the afternoon with temperatures into the upper 80s. Here's the setup. Over the next couple of days, we've got tropical moisture coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. Look at the clouds here. There's even a little spin showing up into parts of Louisiana. Throw in a cold front that has become stationary, and you get the recipe for some tropical downpours over the next few days. So a few storms around tomorrow, locally heavy downpour, not going to rain all day. Thursday has the best chance of seeing some stronger storms that can produce some local flash flooding. Thursday and into Friday, some of the models during those 2 days are spitting out an absolute ton of rain into parts of central and eastern Kentucky. Not wall-to-wall stuff, but boy, when storms do go up, they're going to put down a lot of moisture. Exhibit A, or should I call this B or C? Remember tonight when you were watching me at 6, I said a new run was just coming in of a computer model that was really ramping those totals up again. Well, through Sunday, mind you, this is a snapshot in time. It just gives you a general idea. Don't just look at the numbers and say, oh, we're getting 4 or 5 inches of rain. It's giving you the general idea that the pattern is loaded with enough moisture to put down rainfall amounts that can cause some high water at some point over the next few days. We've harped on this pattern for a little while, and I still see this producing at least a flash flood threat here or there over the next few days. Doesn't mean it's here where you are or there where someone else lives. We'll see as we go through the next few days. Temperatures will come down as well, so that is at least some good news there. The bad news, the stormy pattern is trying to lock in as we go into next week as well. Guys, that's really been the theme of this summer so far. A lot of storms. Yeah, the past week and change has been hot, but overall it's all about the storms.
We've stayed in that rut, if you want to call it.
And it's the 4th straight summer. We've had more storm and rain action than normal across the entire state.
We know it well. Chris, thank you.
You bet.
He calls it a monument to his life's work. A former Kentucky governor receiving a special honor today. That's in 8 minutes. Lexington city leaders call it one of the largest federal grants the city has ever received.
They say the city has been awarded a more than $14 million grant from the Department of Transportation's Tiger program. The money will be used to finish the Town Branch Commons Corridor project. That project will link 22 miles of trails and include greenways and parks to make it safer for people to walk or ride their bikes.
When we get quality of life at a high level like this, then we're going to bring jobs to our city and we're going to improve our economy, and that's what this is really all about. So it's a park, a linear park, but it's really about economic growth and development.
Mayor Gray says the city worked with Senator Mitch McConnell, Congressman Andy Barr, and the Department of Transportation to secure that grant. We have more information about the Town Branch Commons project on WKYT.com.
An Owsley County homeowner says he had no choice but to shoot a man he says tried to rob his family. James Stewart says a woman knocked on his door this morning asking for help, but a short time later he says a man jumped in threatening Stewart and his wife. So Stewart says he shot the man fearing what would happen otherwise.
Probably got shot. I mean, he had rope in his pocket. I mean, the police pulled it out of his pocket. He had gloves on. He had a ski mask on. You couldn't see.
Investigators identified the man killed as Charles Harris. They say Linda Peters, who knocked on the door, was shot in the arm. Police say no charges have been filed against Stewart. We have some new information tonight about the investigation into a deadly building collapse in Louisville. Part of the building collapsed Friday, killing John Dozier. Newly released documents showed 2 days earlier the Louisville Fire Department had warned the building was unstable. Firefighters also requested building inspectors take a look, but the collapse happened 3 days before the planned inspection.
A Franklin County magistrate has lost his barn in a fire, and tonight investigators call it an arson case. The fire destroyed Magistrate Lambert Moore's barn on Devil's Hollow Road. He estimates the loss to be between $75,000 and $100,000. Moore says investigators found evidence that gasoline had been used to start that fire.
It's hard to believe somebody would do this to anybody, really, but if they'll burn a barn, they'll burn your house too.
Investigators say they have a few leads on the case. They're also looking into the possibility that the arson is connected to another that happened in Franklin County in the early spring.
New tonight, a former Kentucky governor has been honored with a statue in his hometown. A statue of former Governor Paul Patton was unveiled today on the campus of the University of Pikeville, where he was once president. He said he's humbled by the statue and calls it a monument to his life's work.
10 years as county judge are very important to me, and the time I spent in Frankfort, but the time I've spent at the University of Pikeville has meant just about as much to me as anything, because that's really affecting the lives of some young people in a very profound way.
The statue now stands at the foot of the University of Pikeville's 99 steps.
For the Cincinnati Bengals, training camp just 3 days off, Rob.
It is getting close. It starts Friday for Cincinnati, and hopes are again riding high. But what about the way last season ended? That devastating loss to Pittsburgh. Owner Mike Brown recalls it next in sports. The Bengals getting set to open up their training camp at the end of the week, and Marvin Lewis is heading into his 14th season in Cincinnati. The kickoff luncheon today at Paul Brown Stadium. Now, the Bengals have made the playoffs the last 5 years. Only New England, Green Bay, and Denver can say that.
The fact that we've been able to draft and continue to develop the players from the ground up, and they carry that torch, understanding what's asked of them, how we prepare, how we study, how we train, how we eat, how we sleep, how we come to work every day. And if you can't stay in step, you got to get on. And I think they do a good job of policing that part because they understand the urgency of where we are. This isn't forever. They're not promised forever, and you got to take advantage of each and every opportunity we get.
Back in January, it looked like the Bengals had won a playoff game for the first time since 1991 as they rallied against the Steelers to go in front 16-15. But Cincinnati blew the game with a fumble and 2 huge penalties. It was a monumental collapse that ended the season, and like everybody else in Cincinnati, owner Mike Brown was not happy about it.
I felt like I got hit in the nose. Were we happy about that? We were not. What part of life is you aren't happy about everything. Some of it isn't what you want. And when it goes against you, you just have to accept that and get ready for the next one. I don't call that a bad taste in my mouth. I just call it we failed, we know it, we regret it, and now we want to see if we can do something about it.
All right, former UK and EKU running back Deshaun Mobley waived by the Bengals this morning. He was an undrafted free agent. The string of injuries last year limited him to just 347 yards rushing for the EKU Colonels. And former Wildcat A.J. Stamps waived by the Cleveland Browns to make room for receiver Josh Gordon. Gordon was reinstated by the NFL Monday after missing all of last season because of a drug suspension. Stamps was second on the UK team last year with 67 tackles. And the name Marvin Robinson now appears on the University of Kentucky football roster. He is a receiver out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, goes 6'4", 175 pounds. Robinson committed to Wisconsin last year. Things did not work out there. He is now landed at Kentucky. We are counting down the days to the high school football season. The Frankfort Panthers looking for a bounce-back year following a tough season. Frankfort enters 2016 with new optimism, despite being down in numbers, especially on the offensive and defensive lines. This group may not be as athletic as other Frankfort teams, but it has one special quality.
You know, I've had a couple of kids that it was hard to coach. Now, they were athletes, but it was still hard to coach. This year's group may not be as athletic, but they are very, very coachable, and I think they'll do anything we ask them to do. So if they'll stay with where they're going right now, I think we've got a chance to make that deep run once again.
And the USA and China in another exhibition game, this one in Oakland tonight. The U.S. on the break, easy lob to DeMarcus Cousins. Cuz then working down low, nifty move there in the lane. Later in the second quarter, a tremendous putback by Cousins as he gets the rebound to go here and the foul. Cousins, 18 points, 9 rebounds into the fourth quarter now, with the USA on top, 86-39. That's sports. We'll be right back.